Welcome back to Good Better Broker as we bring in Kevin Robinson. He is the broker owner of Capital Home Loans in Toledo, Ohio. Kevin, great to have you here.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
So you're just from down the road there in Toledo, and a bit about you, 13 plus years in the mortgage business. You don't buy leads. You don't use Zillow. 100% of the business you get at Capital comes from your sphere, and a major part of that, Kevin, is your realtor relationship. So as we get the conversation going, tell our listeners, what is your approach to realtor relationships in your market, and why is this such a big priority for the company?
Yeah, I think for us, it really just comes down to what's the longevity of your lead source. Are you going to dry up a well of buying leads, whether it's off of a website or from a title company, and it doesn't have the same pull through as an agent does. They're the most important person in the transaction that the buyer listens to the most. So if I can get in with a good agent or a good group, and they're giving us out even with a couple other names to their buyers, we're going to convert a lot more than if I just get a Zillow lead. Someone's calling me and 13 other lenders. So we really just focus on that. Our entire team. We're a small broker, but all of us are pretty much 100% sphere focused on agents, title companies, past clients, etc.
For you, can you recall when this first became your strategy, or at least this was the vision for the way you were going to build out your company as an independent mortgage broker?
Yeah, so it was probably before I started Capital. So I started in the bank world. So I was a retail guy. I got through HARP, which anyone that's been in the industry a long time knew that was the easiest loan. I did a lot of business back then, but then it got to a point of, okay, this program's going to go away. The well is going to dry up. What's really going to be my 30, 40-year plan? So when I moved down to Toledo, I made my move to a lender that was more focused on the real estate connections in the community. And then, of course, that just kind of translated into what we do at Capital once we started in 19.
So you are heavily focused on the experience, both for your clients and for your referral partners. So to you, Kevin, what makes a great experience for a real estate agent and their lender?
Yeah, I think we probably talk about this in the industry to nauseum, but communication is so key these days. And with all the technology, which of course you guys know all about because you're the kings of it, but there's so many online lenders and competition out there. What are you doing to set yourself apart too, not only the client but the agents involved? So having that good communication, updating them on every step that you're doing, setting expectations, and then making sure that you're following through with them. It's absolutely crucial when you're dealing with an agent.
Okay, so down in Northwest Ohio and Southeast Michigan, Danbury is the name of this real estate company, and they are a monster. I was actually on their website earlier today before we did the interview and just looking at all the agents they have and the listings they currently have. And Kevin, this is the company that you are so closely linked with. So tell our listeners how this partnership first came to be.
So it was about 10 years ago. I had mentioned that I moved down to Toledo, and I had met a gentleman named Lynn Fruth, who at the time was owner of Danbury, and had no idea who he was. Did a loan for him and for one of his family members. And Lynn, he's a good friend. He probably won't like this, but I mean, he's got a good 50 years on me. But we kind of connected and stayed close, and he just liked the way that I hustled, and so I got close to him and then some of his partners throughout the years, and we probably talked about doing Capital for 2 to 3 years, and for me going into the broker world, probably like a lot of people in retail, they get those misconceptions of what we're like, and of course now that we've been doing, we're on year 4, year 5 now, I would never go back, but so once we just went through it, we flew all over the country. We met with retail, we met with correspondents, we met with wholesalers, and finally just came to the decision that this was the best partnership for them. And they had done a joint venture in the past with a large retail bank, and it never worked because they brought them in and they just force fed it down the agent's throat, and it never really caught because agents are intelligent and they want to work with people that they have a good relationship with. So I think we've been really trying to key in on, okay, yes, we're strategic partners, but we still have to earn that business. We just get the opportunity.
So how are you earning that business? Like you said, you have this agreement in place, but what are the biggest factors in your mind that have led to this relationship continuing to grow over the years?
Yeah, this is kind of a buzzword in our office. We make fun of one of our employees for this, but we try to be a really good resource to those guys, provide actual value. You'll never hear somebody in my office walk in and say, hey, what do you have for me? What kind of business? It's more, what do you guys need? What are you hearing? What are the hurdles that you're having to overcome with buyers right now in this very tough market? And then we just give them the information and the tools they need to help with that. Because, of course, if an agent's business grows, ours will as well.
So in terms of those resources that you're providing, with the agents that work at Danbury, what are the biggest areas of need that you have found?
I think it's just that. I think with this market, people are wanting to know, how do you get over some of the concerns that buyers have with, especially on the first-time home buyer side, with affordability. What programs are out there? How are we really educating our buyers in the community on what homeownership does for you financially and for your family down the road? And we do that. We go to every office meeting. We have a podcast. We provide out Facebook and social media posts when things change in the industry. So really just providing them that information that they can take back to their clients as well. You
mentioned the office meetings. I want to ask you more about that. Just in your mind, what is the importance of being kind of boots on the ground and having them see your faces and really know that you are invested in this thing right there alongside them?
Yeah, I think when we're talking about items in the industry that not only we're dealing with, they're dealing with as well, I think it just shows them that we're in touch with what's happening in the market. And flyers are great, but it's not the same as being there in person, going over what's happening, and then coming back. We do get pushback from people on, well, I'm hearing this. Okay, well, let's talk through that. I mean, COVID really got us good at that when we sat on probably, 15 Zoom calls a week, just going through all the changes and the challenges that we had to kind of deal with. And we got a lot of business out of that, because even on deals we didn't have the buyer, we were providing that information to agents, saving deals, saving, families and what they were trying to accomplish in buying a home. So being there is just way different than just throwing out a social media post or a flyer.
With the database of clients that Danbury has in your area, I'm curious, what kind of an opportunity has that presented to you and your team for really raising awareness about brokers and the advantages that independent mortgage brokers like you and your team at Capital have over the big banks?
It's been huge. The first 8 or 9 months of Capital, I feel like that's all we did. In Toledo, we're not a big broker market, just because we're not a big market in general. So I think we're one of maybe 3 in the area. So, I mean, when we started Capital, no one had heard of UWM down there. And think about that. I mean, you guys are a massive company. Now it's a well-known name, and we've got a couple other people using you, but it really had us go out and overcome those hurdles of, okay, do we charge more fees? No, we actually shop for you. We've got companies out here trying to earn my business, which is your business, and we're partnering together to make sure you guys get a great experience. So once we got over that hurdle, now I think we're just tapping into more market share because people are seeing that it's better.
You talked about the podcast, and you're wearing the T-shirt representing the brand. For those of you watching us on video right now, tell me more about that and the different pieces of content that you are putting out. With the idea that it's going to help your real estate partners.
Yeah, I think we do a survey every year and just ask, what do you guys need from us? What are you not getting that we could be providing, and information and providing it in a way that they would actually get on board with. And there's 375 agents in that company, and that's just Danbury. We do work with all the different real estate companies, but it's hard to get information to all of them. There might be 30 or 35 at an office meeting. So we created the podcast and said, hey, instead of getting on and listening to Taylor Swift on the way to your next showing appointment, why not, pop on, listen to Colin and I for 20 minutes, talk about things that you guys want to hear about. Send us topics. We'll talk about that, get guests on. We've had appraisers on, title company, attorneys. We've talked about contractual changes. In that podcast, we're still learning. We don't have your guys' experience level, but we'll keep getting better. And, I think just making sure that we provide information that's not just a sales pitch for us as a company, but more just here's the information that's going to help you grow your business.
You mentioned the market that we're in and some of the obstacles that the realtors are also out there facing right now. Have you found that there is real value in what you are able to provide versus, some of your competition down there? And like you said, Toledo is not a huge broker market, but have you found certain instances where, the optionality of the broker channel really gives you an upper hand?
It does. We again, during COVID, we saw that where deals were falling through because if you had a bank that stopped doing certain things, you lost a deal. With us, we have flexibility. We have a great partnership here, but we also have other partners as well if it doesn't work here, which is the broker model.
I want to ask you now about the end of the transaction, because for so many people, once papers are signed and hands are shaken, that's kind of it. But for you guys, that is not the case at all. So kind of walk me through your approach to what happens after the deal gets closed with your real estate partners.
Yeah, I think closing and then after is huge for us. I mean, it's a great way for us to celebrate, a good process with our buyer and with our agents as well, and then set expectations on what they're going to, have down the road, and then just show them that we're not gonna disappear on you. So, I know we've got some great tools here that we use for birthdays and loan anniversaries and things like that. That, some people give us a hard time on, but it's a touch point. So. And what it'll help with is when they start to get solicited down the road, when rates go down or new programs come out, is we're always going to be their advisor, even after closing, to make sure that if they go to list the home, we can get them back to the referral source that got them the first time. If rates go down, we're going to be the ones saying, hey, maybe not the time yet, let's wait, or maybe not do this type of loan, let's switch over and do a shorter term, or whatever it might be. We just want to make sure our clients know that it's not at closing and we're done. We're going to be a partner for life with them.
Speaking of that closing, you guys are big on showing up to all of them. Mm-hmm. And here we are, 2024. There are still some LOs out there who don't go to their closings. Why is this so important in your mind, and what does it say to your realtor partners when they see you walk in the door to be a part of that occasion?
Yeah, I think all three of the parties that are there like it. I think your title company likes it because you now have a lender there that can explain some of those documents that are very specific to the lender. Agents like it because it's a great way for them to not have to worry about answering questions on things they don't know. And then, of course, the buyer loves it just because it provides a personal touch, and we're more than just a website. And our biggest producer at Capital has built a business off of being there, talking to the agents, really entrenching himself in that relationship, and it's paid off tenfold because now that realtor's thinking of him. The list agent might even be like, wow, I've never had my loan officer at a closing before. And then, of course, the buyer is always going to remember, hey, Colin Cass was here at closing. He's the guy that helped me, congratulated me. Maybe there's a closing gift. When they go to buy or sell in the future, they're gonna call Colin.
We talked about the office meetings that your team regularly attends, but it doesn't stop there. There are also plenty of networking events, and from being so closely aligned with your real estate partners, there's a lot of social opportunities with this.
Yeah.
Tell us about your team's role in that, in getting out in the community and really being seen by different people in the community there.
Yeah, I think we really do try to get out to as much as we can. When we were early in our careers, a lot of us would go out and we were the first one there and last one to leave the bar. We're not so much that. It's more just if you've got a real estate driven, event or a community or a charity, we try to just show people that we're not out here just purely, for us. We're for them as well. Danbury, which we mentioned, they just had their annual business meeting where they celebrate all their top producers, and then they focus a lot on their charitable givings as well, and what they do in the community, and kind of the footprint that you as an agent and a loan officer leave on the people around you. So going to those and, again, just showing support, congratulating them, and just reaffirming the commitment to their success, whether it's at Danbury or Remax or any of the big firms, it's good for us, and it's good for our loan officers for sure.
Looking at it from the big picture standpoint, Kevin, how do you describe the impact that this great partnership between Danbury and Capital Home Loans has had on your business and your growth since you started the company?
Yeah, I think for us, it's definitely made our business model sustainable in really, really tough markets where we have that opportunity. Because again, it's not, hey, Capital's our partner, you have to use them. It's not that relationship. It's really just we are given the opportunity to be in front of the best agents in the industry, and then we just capitalize by, again, being that great resource, having the information for them, being present, and just making sure that we're growing our business by growing their business as well.
And I would think that at a time like this, when so many people are looking ahead to when that refi boom hits, it kind of puts some guardrails up for you and your team that you cannot forget about the purchases, because in terms of your realtor partnerships, for you and for anybody else in the on the origination side, that's where your bread is buttered.
100%. And I think it's another reason why we don't do the lead generation, right? Because you're going to have those roller coaster years. Again, I'll mention our top producer. He did more last year than he did in 21, which was a big refi market. And that's because, his focus is on the sustainability of the purchase market. People are always going to buy. I mean, Justin, the rates were in 8s. It's not like people stopped moving. Families grow, situations change, people move different jobs. The purchase market's where the bread and butter in the industry is.
So to close it out, if you're delivering a message to our listeners, other brokers, LOs out there who are looking to do something similar to what you have done. And that is, partner up with the Powerhouse real estate firm in their market. What would you tell them? Where should they start?
I think it's just so key that the old joint venture used to be just dollars and cents. How much money can a real estate company make off of a mortgage company and vice versa? I think really you just have to find that right relationship where you work together well, and then really just sell to that agency. It's not about us giving you guys funds so that we can have access. It's more value driven for them as well, helping them grow as a real estate company. And big real estate companies all across the country have a lender partner, they have a title partner, because they understand that group, that team is really what makes the transaction go. Why not have a group of experts within the four walls? So if you can find that, I think that's so crucial. And we've had probably a dozen conversations since I started Capital with other real estate companies across the country, just going through why having that mortgage partnership is crucial, and not to just make it about the money they can make.
Well, you guys are doing some great things, and it seems like still a lot of room to grow. So keep up the great work. Kevin Robinson from Capital Home Loans, thanks so much for joining us. Really appreciate it.
Yeah, thanks again, Justin.
Thank you for watching Good Better Broker and helping us support independent mortgage brokers everywhere. Be sure to subscribe to our YouTube channel to be notified about new videos, as well as your preferred podcast platform for a new episode every other Tuesday.